Well, hello, and welcome to the Points of Interest podcast. This is the most generic podcast on the internet. My name is Josh Hawks. I am the 303 Ninja, and right over there, he is my podcasting partner for life. He is the other guy. It's Mr. Francis Fernandez.
Hi, everyone. So I check my Blue Sky account every once in a while. Occasionally, I'll get a new follow.
Oh, that's good.
Today, I find that my first furry is following me. For some reason.
Are you
secretly
part of the furry community that you're not telling me about?
I haven't been, but now I feel like if this becomes a trend, I should probably take a look and see what's going on with the furry community. See if that's my new crew, my new gang. Never know.
That's terrifying.
Anyway, how are you, man? How's it going?
Well, now I'm freaked out that you're going to become a furry. But
I'll be all right. I'll just wear a tail and ear.
Headband. How's the tail going to be attached? That's
anally.
Important. That's important.
Yeah. It'd be just a plug, just popping right in. Yep.
I mean,
the tail wags, I'm excited.
I don't even know. I don't even know, man.
All good.
Yeah, I'm all for, some ass jewelry. It's not a bad thing, but
Right.
I don't know if I've ever loved a girl enough to buy her ass jewelry.
I mean, some ladies are into that thing.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I know a few.
Especially ones who wear white pants. White pants is scientifically proven that they're a backdoor actioner. So there you go.
I always kind of dug the ones with the LEDs in them. You're walking down the street and someone's ass is glowing.
God.
I
yeah.
like
Well, look.
It's a cool advertisement.
We have no shame anymore. We don't believe in shame anymore. So, yeah, we'll just show up. We'll just wear next to nothing and have our anal plugs just glowing in the dark as we walk around the city.
Timed to the street lights. They change color with the street lights.
Exactly.
In case you're behind somebody and you don't know if it's okay to walk across the street.
What? It's like bikers. Bikers have to have the blinking red light behind them so that cars don't run them over. So, ladies, if you don't want to be tumbled, bowled over, just have it blinking as you walk and walk ahead of people.
There you go.
And then they know. They're like, oh, look, we know someone's in front of us. Despite the glaringly white pants, we know someone's in front of us with a blinking red butt light.
No, it's only blinking on the right side. Maybe she wants to pass.
Right. No, yeah. So like in the Mini Coopers, they have little arrows. Or like a Mustang, they have the little
the sequential
animated sequential arrows. Yeah. So each cheek will have a sequential arrow if they want to make a left or a right. So they're gonna pass you. Well, I don't know what good it does to the people behind you because they don't care. But I guess you at least know whether they're gonna go around someone. So there you go. Science, baby.
I'd rather that than a tinted version of such like they do with cars.
Oh, sure.
Tinted taillights. I do not understand the point of such a weird modification to a car. I'm purposely going to make the brake lights on my car harder for the people behind me to see, just so it fits the aesthetic of my car.
People put in those really dark tints on their car, the limo tint where you can't see inside.
I'm fairly guilty. I'm fairly guilty.
Yeah,
fairly guilty.
Illegal in most states, but who cares?
I'm 15% under the legal limit.
Oh well. Oh, in that case, I'm sure they can. I don't know how well they can tell though. I don't know how well cops can tell.
Well, so I don't know how many, like, you know, traffic cops, like street cops, have these, but highway patrol, state patrol, I'm pretty sure they all have them. They have little light meters, and they have you roll your window down, and they slap this light meter on top of your window, and they can measure how much light is traveling through it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
But you avoid that.
Good on them.
When you get pulled over,
Yeah.
if you just roll all your windows down, and you don't have nothing to worry about.
But then the point of tinting is lost.
Well, if you're getting pulled over,
For however long you have
if you're getting pulled over, regardless of what you're getting pulled over for, you should make it yourself as visible as possible in your car, regardless if there's tint or not.
That is very true. I agree.
So between rolling your windows down and having fucking white light inside my car, you'd be able to see pretty well.
Oh, anyway. What else is going on, man? What else is going on?
Well, we all apparently have survived the latest social media apocalypse that didn't happen. So that's good. Or Rapture, or the Eclipse.
No. What was that? Yeah, I heard that, right? Like people were making it a bigger, like a really big deal out of the Eclipse.
I mean, as a space nerd, it is a big deal. But, they happen fairly frequently in some sort of regulatory, fashion.
The next one's in 20 years. It's not that frequent.
I mean, but they already know when it's going to happen, so it's pretty frequent.
Yes.
I mean, if you already know the date in which it's going to happen again, then that's not
right.
It's not like it's a surprise. Like it just happened, and
I don't think
they announced when it was going to happen before the first one even happened.
Well, yeah, none of these are a surprise.
Right.
Everyone
They
knows
happen.
when they happen.
Yeah, they happen all over the world. I mean, we just here in the States only get them every 20 years, or in this case, it was less than that because there was a one in 2016 or 2017. Yeah. So, they happen, partial or full, or we had a lunar eclipse. They happen more often than not, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the one that's going to be in 2044, I think is what I wrote down somewhere.
Yes.
Is going to go right over Denver. So.
Oh, so you'll get totality.
We will get totality. Nice. What's cool? Well, I don't know if it's cool or not. I can already see Disney fucking already making plans, but the arc in which they have kind of projected this next eclipse goes right down through Florida, right through Disneyland, Disney World. I can just imagine ticket prices on that day will be astronomical.
Oh. I mean, they're going to sell Disney branded, so the
Eclipse glasses, yeah.
So you look up at it, and they'll sell Disney branded Eclipse food, which I think Krispy Kreme made an Eclipse donut for the occasion. So yeah, there'll be a lot of.
I bet you that was better than Burger King making a black burger, or whatever that was.
Well, the black burger was for something else. I forget what that was for, but yeah, that was
the midnight burger, or whatever it was. It turned everybody's insides out, basically.
Yeah. Made your poo green. I was like, when that black burger came out, that was all anyone posted on social media. I'm like, I don't need to see your poo. Stop showing me your poo. Like, why are you showing me your poo? And it's just like, we're gonna show it because it's green.
Well, that and early Twitter. That's basically all that it was.
Yeah, early Twitter. Well,
I mean, I'm not saying it was all about poo, but it was a lot of like, well, I'm off of work now. I mean, it was a lot of like early Facebook, just without all the flash.
Now, Facebook, I feel like, maybe Twitter changed a little bit, but Facebook feels the same. I think Facebook is still people just kind of, I don't know. I'm not on Facebook much anymore. Like, I'm kind of over Facebook because it doesn't provide me any value.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter does for some weird reason. But Facebook, I couldn't care. I can't. There's no care in me left. I couldn't care less. That's right. That's the right way to say it.
Yeah. The memories popped up this morning when I got up and started moving around, and the first thing that was in the memories was from 4 years ago. So I haven't posted anything on this day for 4 years. Or 2 years. I think it was 2 years. But either way, it's just like, wow.
Snapchat does the same thing for me. I don't ever post on Snapchat, but they will look at my old pictures and be like, remember when you posted this 7 years ago? I'm like, yeah. So I'm not gonna post them on Snap. I don't even know why I have Snap. I don't know anyone on Snapchat. I mean, I know people, but they don't post anymore.
Right.
So it's like I have no reason to.
I went through recently and just deleted hundreds of people off of Snapchat because when I first got it, same sort of thing, not knowing who was on it. I just friended every female name on there and any cool account that I came across. Hey, I got nothing to hide. And it was a crapshoot. I get bored and stoned on a Friday night and lonely. Be like, well, let's see what Snapchat is up to these days. And let's add 100 accounts at random and see what happens. And, most of them never accept or whatever because they're like, who the fuck is this person?
Right.
But I went through and deleted tons of accounts off Snapchat. So I was just like, I'm barely using this now. I might as well just hang on to the 6 people I know that actually post things that I actually know and keep them, and that's about it.
Yeah. Same with TikTok.
I got rid of that one.
Look at that.
They don't make it easy to get rid of any fucking app, but that one I got rid of because I was just like, this is... I get absolutely nothing out of it. And the algorithm was just... like, maybe I fucked up by liking pretty ladies. Sorry. But then that's all that showed up ever in my feed. It was just chicks dancing to the same song, which, I like pretty girls just as much as the next person, but I need more from my social media than just tits and ass shaking all the time.
True. Yes. I don't know. I feel like I'm keeping it just because it's the number one biggest social media platform in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it's huge, bigger than Facebook, bigger than Twitter, right? Essentially. So I'm just like, I guess I'll keep it just in case I need to use it, just in case something happens, and I'm sure it'll show up there. People get their news on TikTok. People get like everything on TikTok. I'm like, I guess. Yeah, you're right. But when I go on there, it's like, Arnold Schwarzenegger petting a sheep or something.
I would fucking love that instead of fucking just every time I swiped, it was just another fucking chick dancing to the same fucking song the last chick was dancing to.
I don't get any of that. But I don't. Yeah.
It's.
I don't follow enough people, I guess.
Maybe I fucked up, like I said, but
yeah.
I need a little bit more out of my randomness in the feed of just dancing chicks. Give me something, even if it's not something I'm actually interested in, give me something random.
But I guess, all those people on TikTok, all those people on Twitter, all them, even you for a brief moment went to try and see the eclipse. I'm the fool who didn't even bother to exit to go outside and look. I cared so little about the eclipse. I had nothing in me to care about the eclipse.
I don't have the cool glasses, so I was really hoping for just looking down at the shadows on the ground and taking pictures, that way, or just the general ambience of whatever bit of it that we were going to get here. Either the times that I was looking at were wrong, or it just wasn't happening from where I was, because I saw nothing. And I was a little bummed out because in 2016 or 17, whenever that was, all the shadows for hours here were all crescents. It was awesome.
The cool shadow.
And I was out there taking tons of pictures. But in 20 years, I guess I'll get to experience what that is like, totality, I guess. Maybe.
It's true. You get the full blackout if you're still living there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I don't see why not.
You might move to the California or something.
I mean,
we neighbors.
You're not wrong. It's a possibility. I don't know.
You never know.
Live in the 90210 or something.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. Go hang out with Dylan and...
I was going to say, I'd shave my beard and just leave the sideburns.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a shark tooth necklace.
You like pho? You can go to the local 90210 pho. That's actually in Beverly Hills. So there you go.
Jesus Christ.
That is a real place. It is pho French fusion, which is weird.
I mean, Vietnamese, the language, is partially based off the French language.
Oh, well, there you go.
Or has, the type of, I don't know how accurate of a statement that is, but I've heard that before.
Okay.
So
I'm not
know.
going to tell you you're wrong.
I mean, you could.
I'm going to say you're absolute, this is like pure fact, and that like anyone who says otherwise is just misinformation.
Well, I mean,
so
if we were Republicans, that's how we would say it.
I hate to tell you, that ain't just one side go. That ain't just
I'm not even
side.
a political person. I just thought it'd be fun to say that.
Yeah.
Because I don't really, I don't buy into all that shit. But yes, so we talked about the eclipse. The eclipse happened. It's going to happen again.
It did.
We'll have other eclipses in between, but
we will.
Hopefully the people enjoyed this one. The pictures looked cool, so I'm all for that. The video, I guess it was a series of pictures sewn together into a video from the ISS, showing the eclipse travel across the planet. That was fucking fresh. I really enjoyed that. But yeah,
I mean, they really made a big deal out of this eclipse. This was the thing.
I think
most of my timeline just talked about it. So yeah,
I think anything that happens in the U.S. is going to make a pretty big deal out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening here. It's not happening where you are. Ha ha ha! People are traveling all over the world to come to our state.
Texas, I want to say, was where it was at totality. Mexico, parts of Mexico and Texas had the totality. Yeah.
Iowa. Yeah, Iowa, I think did. There was a whole. It was an arc that kind of went up the northeast.
Yeah.
Kinda.
No, you're right. Yeah.
So a lot of different places
talking about how
totality.
Yeah. it was a kind of a once in a lifetime thing, for some, because you're not going to drive out every time there's an eclipse to a place where it's totally dark. So
I had friends travel to Nebraska, I guess it was, for the last one. And so the temperature drop was insane.
Okay.
I'm like, I would like to experience that, just to experience that, but not. It sucked that the sun just, decided to go out.
Yeah. Well, some people, Colorado specifically was supposed to be overcast during the eclipse. So you guys lucked out by having a fairly clear day this week. So.
Yeah, and I guess, like I said, maybe the times I got were wrong, or the area that I was in didn't see things. Apparently other places, other friends, local friends, they were able to see stuff, but I don't know if they had glasses or what. I didn't investigate on that.
I don't know. It's a weird phenomenon. I don't get it. And as I said on Twitter, I'll say it on here. And you won't get it unless you've seen the Twilight series. But yes, I'm not a fan of Twilight, so that's why I didn't. I was the only one who didn't see the Eclipse because Eclipse is one of the books in Twilight.
You didn't want to see any glittery vampires walking around?
I mean, that's what happens to the ground, right? The leaves get glittery and all funky when the eclipse happens. It's like they're like little mini vampires. I was okay not vampiring, so I was right with that.
Okay.
I was right not experiencing that.
I mean, had I done my normal job on that day, I probably wouldn't have even had a chance to not see anything. So I was happy in that sense to be moved to a different position on that day, but I found something I don't want to do with my life, so that's good, I guess.
You learned a lesson.
Yeah.
You learned a lesson about life.
Yeah. That's one way to look at it. Lesson learned in life. Wrestling happened this weekend. Wrestlemania happened. And
sure.
The lesson that one wrestler got to learn was if you keep up on something, it pays off. Was that good enough transition?
Sure. Yeah. No. Yeah. Go with that.
Okay. WrestleMania happened. It was a 2-night event, as it's been the last, few years, I think, since pandemic.
Okay.
Not a ton of surprises, I didn't think. Overall, Sunday, the big names came out. The Undertaker came back, and The Rock was there, and who else was there? John Cena was there. A wrestler got to, quote unquote, finish his story and win the championship that his father had won and got stripped of, 30 or 40 years prior. So that was cool, I guess. There was some long-term storytelling that was happening, but it's too niche. It's too fucking deep cut to get into this. But I think we can all safely say that Vince had nothing to do with this because he hasn't been there for so long. And
True.
The guy that's running the show now, a former wrestler, is quite visibly changing things. There was always rumor that Vince didn't like hearing the national anthem at the beginning of an event. That's why at the beginning of all WWE pay-per-views, it was always America the Beautiful. This year,
interesting.
It was the national anthem.
Oh, wow.
And I was not taken back by it. I was like, oh, that's not the usual. That's cool. I don't understand the point of doing either one of them at the beginning of a sporting event, but it's cool, whatever. Not, not making a statement here. I just don't understand it. Yeah. And then people were saying wrestling instead of sports entertainment, which was a Vince-ism. He didn't want, especially when it was called the World Wrestling Federation, he didn't want the WWF to be associated with wrestling. So he said it was sports entertainment.
Well, what was wrong with? I mean, that's what they did. That's what it was. So why did he care?
We're not in the business of we're not in the business of wrestling. We're in the business of making movies.
Okay, I guess. I mean, WWF is what defined what wrestling is today. So like,
you're not.
Why
You're not wrong in that statement. You can put some of it to ECW, some of it to WCW, but WWF or
but
for sure is the leader in all of that sort of stuff. along with the two-night WrestleMania, there was also the Hall of Fame induction, where some legends, as they call them, old-time wrestlers, they go into their own little Hall of Fame. Everybody that went into it, I was aware of some of them as different characters as opposed to the characters they went in as, if that makes sense. One guy went in with his former tag team partner. I didn't know him as a tag team wrestler. I knew him as this guy named IRS, Erwin R. Shyster, where he was a bookkeeper type of character, and he would make everybody pay their taxes and beat their asses. So when his name came up, I was like, oh, I didn't know him as a tag team person, so that's cool, whatever. Muhammad Ali's widow went in. There was a Japanese female wrestler from the 80s that went in. And then a manager / former owner of ECW. The guy's name is Paul Heyman. And he was always kind of known as a radical, an extreme. I mean, that's what ECW stood for, was Extreme Championship Wrestling. And ECW really, brought in, violence and tables and the more extreme stuff of wrestling that is for some, isn't for some as well. But all the other main wrestling organizations, WWE, since we're talking about them, took a lot of what was happening in ECW and adopted it to their style. And then eventually ended up purchasing the ECW IP at some point. And so Paul Heyman went in as a manager of not only WCW, owner of ECW, manager in WWE, well, F and E. He had a pretty heartfelt speech, actually. There's a few times, even I, as callous as I am, had hot, salty tears running down my face.
Okay.
Then he gets to a point, he's got this cardboard box on the podium. And he's speaking basically as himself, not as the character of Paul Heyman. And he finally gets to a point in his speech where he's like, we need to address ECW. And in his box, he has this old leather trench coat that he was always in, old baseball cap that said ECW. He pulled out an old cell phone, an old brick phone. And he pulled it out, put it on the podium. He looked at it again. And he's like, holy shit, this is the real phone I used back in the day. So he talked about ECW and how, basically, as I just said, a lot of the heart and soul of ECW has continued to live on. It's just, it's not as extreme, or it's been adopted for better TV presentation. And sure. He said, I'm going to paraphrase it, but something like, if you think that ECW died in a bankruptcy court in 2001, I tell you to suck my fucking dick, or something like that. And, it didn't,
okay. Wow.
It didn't
All
go
right.
censored. It went full raw, audio on it. And there were wrestlers all over. They do the presentation in a wrestling ring, which is so corny, but wrestlers and, are around the ring. And when he said that, it popped so many of the guys that were just standing up, banging their hands on the ring, just dying laughing.
Oh.
So it was cool. It was cool. Paul Heyman's got an interesting story in wrestling that maybe one day we can go through. But it was cool to see this guy get put into get recognized for, 40 years of work. So that was cool. Not that Muhammad Ali's widow didn't, or the other people didn't, their speeches weren't heartfelt either. I just didn't have much of a connection. I didn't have a connection with this guy either, but it was more his speech was a lot more interesting.
But there's history. There's history.
I mean, there is, because I watched ECW back in the mid-90s. You know, when it was on some regional sports channel, Fox regional sports channel at like 2 a.m. Because when else do you air people jumping off of balconies through, 3 or 4 tables while holding a staple gun? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Where do you air that? But overall, the whole weekend, it was cool. I was glad I was able to see some of it. I'm not a huge WWE watcher, but it was, I watched the big stuff. And
you're still a wrestling appreciator, wrestling aficionado.
I love wrestling. It doesn't matter the company. It's fun to watch. I just prefer the presentation over the other.
Yeah.
I mean, I think WWE is probably where you want to end up someplace in your career, just because that's where you go to learn everything, where the biggest money is, where if you're young, you learn how to do things right, is what everybody says. So
right.
I get it. WWE is like, the Ferrari of Formula One. Like, everybody desires to race for Ferrari, like,
sure,
everybody wants to fuck a Disney. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's the pinnacle of that particular genre of entertainment.
Yeah. But yeah, good weekend overall. It was fun.
Good.
Taylor Swift's boyfriend's brother was there, whatever his name is.
I don't know.
I don't even know what her boyfriend's name is, but his brother.
I don't know her boyfriend's name either. Yeah.
It took place in Philadelphia, so like there were some Philadelphia Eagles that showed up in the ring at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Because you gotta do the local sports pop. That's a must at any wrestling event. Yeah. I don't have an ending for that part. Let me look. Nope.
You don't have to.
I don't really have it. I don't really have anything to transfer out of that.
It's not required.
It isn't.
To have
It
an
isn't.
ending.
Something that we've been trying to talk about actually for like the last 3 weeks that we just keep running out of time for, and we should probably do it before we run out of time.
Topic.
What's that?
Yeah, but evergreen topic.
Yes. Yeah.
Something you can talk about anytime, anywhere.
It literally, I can go back 3 pages of my book here, and 3 or 4 pages, and it's written on every single page. But let's talk about it before we forget. But I want to ask you, Francis.
Yes.
Maybe you probably have to think back, maybe as far back as your childhood. But are there any car features that your car today, despite being in the future and having a whole bunch of cool features, there's a feature that is missing from the past that you want back?
Good question. I didn't realize that connected to what we were talking about originally with that topic, but yeah, okay. I don't know. Let me think about it. You know this more than I do. What's your answer, Mr. Arizona?
Well, the thing that I want to see come back, which I think is what you think I thought I was going to bring up originally. But,
yeah. So I'm like, okay.
Especially since their automatic cars are basically the standard now, and the standard manual is now a relic. There used to be in automatic cars from the, I don't know, all through the 70s, maybe even into the 80s, where in an automatic, you had your gas pedal, you had your brake pedal, and then off to the far right where you rest your foot, your left foot, was a little round plunger of a switch, a little metal switch. And if you stomped on it, you'd make your brights flash on and off. I want that back.
Thing, really? That existed?
Yeah, hell yeah. So the first car I ever had was a 72 Dodge Charger. Kind of like the Dukes of Hazzard car. And not only did the passenger door not open, so you had to jump through the window to get in and out of it. But I was driving down the street one day, and someone was flashing their lights at me. I'm like, why? And someone told me, maybe your brights are on, or your lights aren't on. I was like, no, my lights are on. I got this little blue indicator in the middle of my speedometer, though. What's that? Your brights are on. I'm like, oh, well, I don't know how to turn them off. So I drove around for, I don't know, 2 months with my brights on. And probably stomping on the pedal, not realizing I'm just flashing the lights at everybody. Until somebody finally pointed out to me that that's how you turn your brights on and off. And afterward,
that is like,
it was
so
great.
weird.
It was so much better. It's so much more satisfying than, what do you do now to flash your lights? You pull back on the little, the turn signal indicator. That's not fun.
The stick, yeah.
Stomping on the
Ginger
floor.
Carfins.
Carfins.
Ginger Mrs. Carfins. That's
That's
what she wants.
an aesthetic, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what purpose they served other than making the car.
Aerodynamics.
Really?
Made it fast. Porsche has that when you go into a certain mode, the back of the Porsche, the fin goes up.
Letting every officer know on the street that you're speeding.
Wow.
There was one car one of my friends said, oh yeah, at 70 miles an hour, the spoiler kicks up. And I'm like, oh, so you just advertise that you're speeding everywhere. That's cool.
Ginger fights for them, saying they're cool. So
I'm not saying they
are
weren't.
cool.
Not saying they weren't cool. I just, I don't.
I want the
weird.
flip lights,
The way that
actually.
cars, the way that cars look now, it would look
Yeah.
awfully weird to have fins. You'd have to bring back
I want the
like a
want the
50s
headlights
body
that
style.
hide.
What's that?
I want the ones that speaking of fins, it makes me think of the headlights that hide.
The pop-up
That it
headlights.
just pops up. Yeah.
Had an RX-7 that had pop-up headlights that worked.
Yeah.
They were on. It was one of my favorite features of the car.
Gave your car a face. Made it look like it had a face.
Mm-hmm. The only thing you had to
But no, I loved
remember
it. It just flipped open.
in the winter, you had to pop the headlights without turning them on and leave them up, because if they froze, you had a bunch of snow on the ground. You went to turn your lights on, and if it was the door was frozen, you'd burn your motor out.
Oh, that makes sense.
So every time it snowed, I'd either before I was done for the day or it started to run out to my car or pop the headlights.
Yeah.
They were cool.
Yeah, I don't know. The high beams on the floor like that just totally freak me out, because it's so easy to just accidentally stomp on that button or that sphere, that circular thing,
Yeah.
and turn on your high beams. Like,
You definitely had to apply some pressure to it. It wasn't like
Sure.
touch sensitive
Sure.
or anything, but you can even
you
rest
had
your
them on
foot on
accidentally
it.
for 2 months.
You could, because nobody told me that when your brights are on, that there's an indicator on your dashboard to let you know that your brights are on.
Oh,
Nobody informed me of
okay.
this.
Oh.
I just thought my lights were on. I was like, oh, it's a little indication that my lights are on. I like that. I can clearly see out the front of the car my lights are on, but it's nice. It gives me, no, Josh, those are your brights. Oh, how do I turn them off, I wonder?
Yeah,
But,
there's not as much excitement pulling back
right.
on the stick.
And now, actually, if I were
Flash.
to flash my lights now with fog lights that change color, every time I flash my lights, my fog lights would change color. They go from white to
that's
yellow
right.
with every flash.
Ginger's also saying she also loves the pop-up headlight. It's so cool when they would just open up, which is like my favorite part, just seeing them flip open. It's always fun. And then bench seats, which I do recall bench seats. That was definitely a thing. I had a buddy of mine who had an old maybe Toyota pickup truck or something, had bench seats, but it was manual. So if you were the unlucky dude sitting in the middle,
sitting,
you got a
sitting
lot
bitch.
you're getting, because you had to or whatever. Better than sitting on your buddy's lap, in the passenger seat. So
Hey man, it all depends on who was driving. Sometimes some man touching was welcomed.
I mean, there you go. Yeah. I mean, it happened. It was hard to avoid when it's right in the center right there, and you're just like, it's between your legs. What?
Yeah, you see, you're like, well, I guess I'm just gonna rest my hand on your thigh there, buddy.
Right? Yeah. At least there's some foreplay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Changing gears.
Or if you're sitting,
fifth.
if you're sitting, bitch, you also, you could be the gear shifter as well to avoid any unwanted man
with
touching.
The driver. Yeah.
I mean, that's as simple as like,
okay,
all right, clutch, shift. All right, let the clutch out.
Yeah.
Done it.
That grinding noise. I can hear it now. There's that grinding noise already.
There may have been some of that as well. I did tell you about the one time I was driving my buddy's car and went from 5th to 3rd. Only I missed 3rd, and somehow I was getting ready to drive faster than I was driving at.
Okay.
Cruising at like 50 miles an hour in 5th gear on the freeway. And somebody came up and they said, "Hey, how fast is that?" And my buddy said, "Do 5th to 3rd and show them." So I went, okay. And instead of going into 3rd, somehow I shoved the gear shifter into 1st at 50 miles an hour and let the clutch out and about blew his engine up.
But the benefit was you could start an engine just with just that clutch thing.
Oh, popping the clutch?
Popping the clutch.
Yeah. Another thing, I didn't even think about that. That is a feature that is kind of going away because there's only like 2 manufacturers that make manual cars anymore in the United States.
Well, and at some point, they'll be considered true classics, like the Model T. And it'll just be like the antiquated vehicles of yesteryear because everything will be electric.
But see,
push button start and push button, gear shifting.
Have you actually ever seen how a Model T operates?
I mean, yeah, it's also gear shift.
No, it's not.
Is it?
No.
I thought it was, yeah.
No, you need 4 arms and one coming out of your face to drive a Model T. There's like a handbrake thing on the right hand side that is also somehow a gear selector, depending on the position it's in. There's a throttle lever on the steering wheel. There's 3 pedals, but the far left pedal, you have to hold your foot down on it until that emergency brake thing on the right hand side is put into a certain position. Then you could take the foot off the pedal, but then whether you want to or not, the car reaches its top speed. And if you try to do a hill start, it'd be impossible. It wasn't until, I just watched a documentary on the layout we know of a manual gearbox car. Who was the first to do it? It was a stupid documentary. It really was. It was a waste of time, but I learned something from it. The Cadillac, I don't remember what fucking year it was. It was early 1900s. Was the first car to have an electric starter and the pedals, as we know, a standard gearbox setup, 3 pedals, gear shifter on one side or the other, depending on country. And so the Cadillac, too expensive for a lot of people. Then some English guy took all the designs of this Cadillac car and made what was called the Austin 7. That car was then copied all over the world and was known as the people's car until Hitler and the Beetle.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just whoever came up with the idea. I want to find out who was the first car manufacturer to put things in the order as we know them today. And I was like, all right, well, I'm sold. And a half hour later, I was like, I just lost a half hour of my fucking time. But apparently the Cadillac, as I've always said, Cadillac is the innovator of all things technology-wise in cars.
Sure, I guess. Yeah.
You want to know what's going to be standard in your car, your next car that you're going to purchase? Look at a Mercedes C-Class. Everything that's in a C-Class.
Mercedes is a Cadillac.
Huh? No.
Cadillac doesn't own a Mercedes, though.
Mercedes is Mercedes. But I'm saying.
Yeah, but you're saying Cadillac is the. Oh.
No, what I'm saying is Mercedes. Sorry, Mercedes. You want to know what's going to be in your car in the future? Look at a Mercedes C-Class today.
Okay.
And the backup camera, the radar stuff, all this shit that's in your car or my car now, all that shit was in C-Classes 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, I believe it.
Do you remember, did you ever drive in a car with a heads-up display?
You mean that's not like the current infotainment system that they have now?
No, I mean a projected image on the windscreen.
Oh, no, I've seen those though. I was thinking of getting a car with that, with a HUD. Why was that Mercedes?
Probably yes, I think it was. But I drove in a Bonneville. Who made the Bonneville? Chevy.
Oh, that Chevy. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
It was some high end of a whatever the high end of a Bonneville was, but it had a heads up display.
Okay. Oh, all right.
I thought that was, and it had a car radio or a car phone. You know,
had a car radio.
Well,
had AM band. It had the AM dial.
Yeah, there's sometimes, Francis, there's things that I just say that. What I mean to say is something opposite, but what comes out of my mouth is the thing that Okay, so I used to have this roommate. He worked at a bar.
Yes.
In the same parking lot was a bank.
Okay.
I was driving him to the bar, and I wanted to say to him, because I also drank a lot at the time, it would be really cool if they served beer at the bank, is what I wanted to say. What came out of my mouth was, I really wish they'd sold beer at the bar. And my roommate looked at me and he's like, are you fucking stupid? That's what we sell there. I'm like, no, you let me explain. And he's just like, nope. You just said the stupidest shit I've ever heard. And then I'd go in there, to go get me a meal after work or something. And he'd be like, hey, man, do you want a beer? We sell beer here. Yes.
I mean, you're not wrong. They what's it called? Capital One now has banks, and they have a coffee shop in their banks.
What?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's very profitable.
I don't know, but
is it?
I just know that every bank has a cafe.
Is it a third party, or is it a fucking Capital One barista?
Cafe.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. I can't, outside of the people that work there, I can't imagine, let me go deposit this check. Oh shit, I need a coffee.
Yeah. You take out some money, it's like, well, I already have the money in my hand. I'm going to buy myself a latte. It's like right there. Might as well.
Yeah, I mean,
get myself a cappuccino.
There is something pretty magical about the aroma of coffee.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what time of the day it is. You smell that smell of coffee, and you're like, damn it, I need to drink one of those.
You're not wrong. It's like a perfume.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you just inhale it, and you're like, yes, that scent, that smell. just lingers.
Yeah. Or the grinding, or the, the steam or whatever. Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah. It's a hug in a cup.
Before we get too off topic, Ginger did say that she misses cars with style. Not cars that all look alike and are the same color. Two-tone colors.
I don't remember which line of BMW car, but they had 12 colors available for it, and they were all gray.
Yeah.
Different
Gunmetal
versions.
And
yeah. Gunmetal gray and silver and gray.
asphalt.
Yeah. Concrete. Yeah, it's like...
So...
70s cars, I think, had some pretty awesome colors. Well, Mopar had some pretty awesome colors for like the Barracudas, the Chargers, Challengers. They had like lime green, like fluorescent lime green. That'd be a cool color to have. And I guess really, as far as colors go, now with vinyl wraps getting cheaper and cheaper to do, you can have your car be any color you want, even if you've already had it for 15, 20 years.
Yeah, a lot of European cars. Ginger's saying 50s and 60s two-tone cars. So, yeah. Think Back to the Future, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those older cars. But, I think European cars continue to have unique colors because, like, the Fiat still have really weird colors. Before I got my Corolla, I had a Mini Cooper that was orange. So, like, that was a different color. So I tried to with this car, but I ended up just getting whatever was on the lot, and it was just gray. So I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Speaking of,
that's fine.
I can't speak
every other car.
I can't speak too far. I mean, my car is a version of gray.
It's gunmetal, isn't it? I thought, isn't it?
I mean, no, it's because depending on the official color is called Sonic Gray Pearl. So the pearl part I understand, the gray I understand. Pearl just, gives you kind of that deepness and color change. I don't know what the Sonic part is, but depending on what angle you look at my car, you can actually see some green, you see some blue, but it is a gray car.
Nothing wrong with that, though. I mean, that's kind of there's that not rumor, but that, I don't know, they just say to people, hey, don't get a color, a frozen.
Oh,
Frozen.
That sucks.
Let it go.
I hate it. I hate this computer sometimes. I don't know if it's a computer or if it's us.
We're both rubbing our chin.
Oh, that's...
As we freeze.
No, we're back.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you were for a second, and then you froze back up again. I'm glad that, now you can't even hear me, so that sucks. Yeah, I hate it when this happens. I really wish we knew what the source... I mean, I know what the source is. It's an internet issue. We'll deal with it as we go here. Oh, you're back.
Well, we're nearing the end. We're nearing an hour, so... So we can...
Yeah, we're not even back on yet.
We're coming back on. We're rebooting.
Oh, okay,
good. On Twitch.
Okay.
So we should be back on.
Yeah, there it is. So yeah, internet issues, they happen. I can't do anything about it. So what else do I have on here? Oh yeah. So there's this is weird. So there's truck stops. Not usually a thing that a normal, regular driver is going to go to, typically, unless you're going across the country or something. I've stopped at a couple truck stops, even just driving to Utah. They're nice, but they weren't as nice as Buc-ee's. Like a Love's or something. I don't know. But a Buc-ee's just opened up here in Denver, and the lady and I we decided that we're going to go up there and go check it out. Go find an hour and a half out of our way to go to a truck stop just to go check a truck stop out.
What?
Yeah.
Really? An hour and a half just
Why
to
not?
see a truck stop?
I mean, get some food, you know, get a lot lizard, maybe.
Get a plush because they're, you know,
No, I
everyone
mean,
has a Bucky's plush.
I'm dating a girl that loves plushies, so that's probably is going to be a must.
They also have their own, I think, popcorn or
They got a few things.
Nuts, maybe.
She was telling me about a few things that they have and that she's got to try before because they were on a road trip or something. Any excuse I have to,
recommend,
go do anything that's weird, I'm all for.
Well, before you go, I recommend you look up these YouTubers who spend 24 hours living at a Bucky's, and you get to kind of see like the different variety of things that they have usually at a Bucky's. I think they're talking about the biggest one in Texas. There's a really big one in Texas that has showers and like
most truck stops have showers. Most big truck stops like that. They have showers.
They have like their own massage parlor, and they have like all sorts of like their own barbers. I was like, it's like a whole city inside this Bucky's.
It's kind of
impressive.
Truck stops are kind of like the aircraft carriers for truckers. Yeah, because aircraft carriers are floating cities basically, where they have their own barbers and theaters and showers and all that kind of shit. The truck stop is kind of the same thing. Yeah. There's a shit ton of trucks. They're all parked there and take off from there. I mean, it just doesn't move.
Well, I'm envious because I've watched many a YouTuber visit Bucky's and eat food from Bucky's and like again spend an entire day at Bucky's because I don't know how big the one is in Colorado, but they're fairly large. They're like a super Walmart sized truck stop. So there's like a clothing section and like a food section and like lawn furniture and all this other stuff.
I want to see what trucker furniture looks like.
Oh yeah, right. Because sometimes you got to take a break, so you just pop the chair out in front of your truck and take a break.
Yeah,
on the side of the road. I don't know.
You might find some kind of cool car accessory there or something. You never know.
100%. Oh my God, the kind of car accessories you're gonna find there. I mean, I'm again just envy and jealousy emanating from me because I would love to go and just kind of see what they have. And they don't have like restaurants there because Bucky's is the restaurant, and so they'll just have
like a diner section.
Yeah, just like a place where you can get like freshly cooked meals, like freshly pasta, lasagna, whatever. Ginger says that American something or other. I don't know what you're talking. I mean That American Life, the NPR show, maybe.
No, different truck stop names, I think.
Oh, That American something. Oh, was that a different truck stop? I don't know.
I know Love's is a truck stop. I know that for sure. Bucky's.
There's a big T one, or it's just that big T, but it means something like travel something or TA travel TA something.
Yeah,
there's big truck stops.
I don't know.
Like
my best friend and I, one of the places he used to work, there was a truck stop near. So we would go there and get lunch, and I'd be getting something classic diner style, and he got something like, what? They have steak, like real steak here? I just went for like some simple breakfast.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm looking forward to it. If one of these days that we both have off and we have nothing to do, why not? I mean,
do it.
We've talked about going to
a lot of fun.
We've talked about going to Taco Bell and just handing the dude behind the counter $20 and saying, surprise us with food that equals $20.
That's fun.
So
there's a YouTuber now that goes to different restaurants like a Chipotle or like a Taco Bell. Well, no, mostly places that you can make your own food, but they're like make me your favorite sandwich, or make me your favorite combination of Chipotle stuff, and they do it that way.
That'd be cool.
Ginger says that this truck stop, the America something or other, is right across the Colorado-Wyoming border. So it's fairly close by, I guess, in general. So if you really want to try out this other truck stop, you can.
Now's the time, if you're going to go buy illegal fireworks, to go do it. Because they're right across the border, the first city across the border of Colorado and Wyoming. They're the first village or town in Wyoming.
Right.
And if the truck stop is near there, then you have subterfuge and a reason to be in Wyoming for a little bit longer than just driving across the border, buying fireworks and driving back. Because State Patrol likes to hang out near the border and pull every fucking Colorado person over coming out of Wyoming, because there's no reason to go to Wyoming unless you're getting fireworks.
Well, that explains it. Well, there you go. There you go.
We made a day out of it. We went on a hike and went to a truck stop. Man, bought some fireworks, but don't worry about that. But the last thing I had to talk about here, since we're at the hour and running out of juice here, is we started late as hell too. I woke up this morning, I fire up the Twitter machine, and I look over at what's trending. I don't really pay a lot of attention to those things, because a lot of it's nothing I'm interested in. But as I look over, trending in the U.S., Phyllis Diller was trending this morning. I have no idea why. Before we hit record, we both looked up why Phyllis Diller was trending. Neither one of us can find anything other than people were just reminiscing about the lady. Which I'm
and
cool.
being surprised that Phyllis Diller was trending. They were just like, oh, that's weird. Phyllis Diller's trending.
I mean, she's been dead for like a lot of years. So it doesn't make sense really that she would be trending, other than some influencer, dink, finally looked up something before they were born and found that this lady was really funny.
It's very possible, but I'm glad that because you mentioned George Burns last week.
that is true.
So I'm glad that like old comedians are like making some kind of weird renaissance again or something. Like there's like this weird resurgence of older comedians. Like, oh, George Burns, Phyllis Diller, like cool, good for them. That they're like
good for their estate
comeback. Yeah, well, they're making a weird comeback to a generation that's never heard of them, and to a generation that's old enough to have barely heard of them.
That's true. I mean, I can't say that I really knew Phyllis Diller's, library of work, but I was introduced to Phyllis Diller via Scooby-Doo.
Oh, there you go.
As a guest voice.
Right.
But then, after that, finding Phyllis Diller on TV or whatever it was. I mean, something as simple as Hollywood Squares or whatever show that she was on, Carol Burnett show. I think she did something on there. And she was funny as hell. It's just I thought it very odd to see that name pop up on Twitter of all places. I think 20, 25 years after she died. Probably longer than that. Because I'm forgetting how long 20 and 25 years was. Still thinking we'd
rather
in the
not
90s.
Think about it.
Yeah.
That's true. Ginger says she's great. So there you go. I agree.
Phyllis Diller died in 2012, so it wasn't fucking still
that was pretty. That's
still
12 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's over a decade.
So yeah, I found it really interesting. There's nothing really to go off of that. I thought it was odd. I when I saw it, I had a little smile on my face after realizing that, she hadn't come back to life, or, somebody found something super damning about her, and now we're talking about her. It was just I got a little smile on my face, like, oh, that's cool, So, like I said, I made fun of it, but maybe I hope that's how it happened. That some quote unquote influencer stumbled upon Phyllis Diller and was like, holy shit.
Yeah. I wish I could figure out what it was, but yeah, nothing comes up when you look at, like, it's just like, oh, yeah, Phyllis Diller was a thing. Isn't that cool? It's like, yeah, it is cool, but like, why is she like? Yeah, she's cool, but why is she cool? Why are people talking about her? Why do people still care? Which is, I understand she's funny, so she's gonna care, but people are gonna care. But
one of the tweets that I
saw.
So
no, I wanted you to write down for next week.
Yeah,
I was hoping you'd write down for next week. More old comedians, and we just every week we talk about a new comedian that had passed away in the last 30 years.
Okay, I will.
It could be anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. It could
I'll
be,
find somebody else that's maybe not as well known.
Do it. Maybe we can make them trend because we talked about it here on the Points of Interest podcast,
the most generic podcast on the internet.
What's more generic than comedians that have passed away a while ago?
I mean, what's more generic than George fucking Burns? I mean, I don't even remember why I even pulled George Burns out of my ass last week.
Oh God, why did you? It was in reference to a movie.
Oh yeah, the personality switching movies.
Yeah, the personality switching movie. That's right. We were talking about personality switching movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because we were talking about. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I think that's everything for this week. What do you think, Francis?
Sure. Yeah,
good, because I have nothing else to talk about. Where can people find you on the internet, Francis, if they so wanted to do so?
At AKA the other guy on everything, except for Threads. That's the one I just refuse to join for some reason. Maybe one day I will. And then supergeekedup.com for an improv show that happens tomorrow.
Wednesdays.
We got some authors.
Everybody else.
Authors we've had in the past. Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah. So we have a couple authors. We continue to bring in authors. They have a new book coming out that we're going to be talking about. So check it out.
You have a new book coming
Wednesdays.
Well, you're part of a book that's coming out.
I'll be part of. Well, this is my first time being part of two books that are coming out at the end of the year. So that's fortunate. So I'll have two books, be part of two anthologies that are coming out at the end of the year. So that'll be fun.
That's awesome.
Same person. Yeah, but different anthologies.
Well, it's still cool though. It's still cool. Like, I know comic book writers, comic book artists. I know sci-fi authors. I know sci-fi movie writers. And here I am, talentless.
Oh.
But you could find everything I do if you wanted to see how much little talent I actually have at 303_ninja on the Twitters, 303ninja on the Instagram. You can find us at POIPodcast.com. What else do I talk about usually? Email us at, I already said that, right? No, email us at thepoipodcast@gmail.com. You can call into the show. You can voicemail, you can text if you're shy, I guess. 314-764-7631. Scrolling across the top of the screen. How did I mess that up? POI Podcast for everything else. Look us up. Follow us on this journey of audio adventure. I have nothing else to say. The song's ending. We made it through the song. I don't have to play it again. We're out of here. See you next time. Bye.